Today we'll learn how to create a drop-down on an MS Excel worksheet. A lot of times when you're entering data, you want the user to enter out of a certain available alternatives. For example, let's take the example of an educational institute which provides, let us assume, three courses: MS Word, MS Excel, and MS PowerPoint. Now, if somebody is entering data about the student details, you'd want him to select the course that the student has enrolled for. So let's assume here, for the time being, we're creating an Excel sheet to keep record of students. What I'll do here is that I'll have some columns. Let's say student's ID, student name, and course. Now, you want the user to select out of the three available courses: MS Excel, MS Word, and MS PowerPoint. So you want to create a drop down here so that the user doesn't have to type in the detail, but he has to select out of the three alternatives in that drop down list. There are two ways of doing it. The way to do it, of course, is to create the drop down, create the options in the drop down in some place, and there are two ways of doing it. One is that you create it in the same sheet, on the same sheet where you are entering this data, or you can create it on a different sheet. It's a better practice to do it on a different sheet. So what I'll do here right now is that I'll go to sheet 3, and in sheet 3 I'll first enter the options that I want in the drop down. So I'll say MS Word, and I'll say MS Excel, and MS PowerPoint. Now once I've done that, what I need to do is that I need to give them a name, I need to group them together. So what I'll do is that I'll select them all three. After selecting them, this is where I'll enter a name. It's called a name box. As you can see in the balloon, it says a name box. Right now they're not named. Right now A1 is the individual name for the cell A1. This is A2, this is A3. I need to group them together by selecting them, and I need to give them a name. So I'll call it courses. Now I have a name for all these three cells together. It's called courses. Now I'm done with this. So I'll go back to sheet 1 where my real data is, and in sheet 1 I first have to select where I want that drop down box to appear. So I want the drop down box to appear whenever somebody is entering course. So I want it to appear on each cell below C1 throughout the column C. So what I'll do is to select all of them, I'll press Ctrl and Shift. First of all, I'll place the cursor here by choosing C2. This is where the selection begins, and I'll press Ctrl and Shift, and I'll press the downward arrow key. So it selects all the cells below C1 in the column C. Once I've done that, I'll go to data. In data, I'll go to data validation. In data validation, I'll select data validation. In this window, there is a drop down called allow. Allow right now has got any value, so it basically allows any value to be entered into these cells. So in allow, what I'll do is that I'll select list. So there is a list out of which options will be allowed into the cells. So in source, coming to source, what I'll do is that I'll write equal to, I'll give the name courses, and I'll say OK. Courses is what we defined here. This is called courses. So what I did here basically is that I'll go back and I'll show you. In data validation, I said that I want to allow data out of a particular list which is named courses. So this list, this is courses. I say OK, and right now I have got a drop down. Whenever somebody is trying to enter data, he will find a drop down here, and he has to select one out of here. I can't enter anything other than what is there in that list. The moment I try to do that, I'll get an error. So I'll say student ID is number 1. I'll say student name is, say, any name. And in course, if I want to enter something else, something other than what's there in the list, I'll get an error. MS Excel will not accept anything but what is there in the list now. So I have to click on the drop down and I have to select one of these. It's applicable to all the cells. Now if I want to do something else, let's add another column here, and let's call it days of the week. I want the user to be able to enter only the days of the week. So what I'll do here is that I will this time I'm trying to show you how you can do it on the same sheet. So I'll say Monday, Tuesday, and let's say Friday. Now I don't want the user to select anything but these three. He should not be able to enter Thursday here or Saturday there. So what I'll do is here is that I have created this. Now I'll go to data validation. Before that, I'll select the cells for which I need the validation. Selected them all. Now I'll go to data validation. I'll click on data validation. In the allow drop down, I'll select list, and here I don't have to give them name anymore. I don't have to define them. I just click on this and I select this and I say okay. See, it's working. So that's all from this tutorial. Goodbye.